Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the latest episode of In the Jailend. Today I am joined by one of the longest serving midfielders in the Scottish game and a man who spent 3 years in Dingwall with us at Ross County between 2003 and 2006, John Rankin. John, great to have you with us. First and foremost, how are you coping with lockdown?
Thanks, Dale. It's strange times, it really is. To be honest, I'm probably just trying to take the most out of it. It's times with the kids I wouldn't have had, so I'm enjoying that in time with the wife. So it's been okay. You just need to deal with it and go on and see how you can make the best of a bad situation.
Absolutely, and obviously you're at Clyde at the moment as a player. How have things been with the club? Have they been in contact with you quite a lot over this period?
To be honest, no, because obviously the furlough situation makes it a wee bit difficult. So it's like my own situation at Hearts. I'm coaching at Hearts with the under-18s and reserve team, so we're not allowed to communicate with the players either. So it's quite difficult. There's no one contacting myself from either club, so it's just a case basically you're kind of isolated totally and just need to get on with it, which is probably hard for a lot, but it's something you just need to deal with it, and it's kind of mind over matter really.
It is, and hopefully we can get a resolve to everything as soon as we can. Our thanks continue to go to the National Health Service in Scotland and across the world. John, let's look back at your time at Ross County. You joined the club on the back of leaving Manchester United. You have obviously had a spell in Brazil as well. You end up in Dingwall. Explain the roller coaster of going from Old Trafford to what was Victoria Park.
To be honest, a few people have asked during lockdown. I've done a few podcasts, and a few people have asked me the same question. For me, it wasn't such a big adjustment. The hard part was probably going from a big city, which was Manchester, to Inverness, which at the time was just an up and coming city. So that part of it was difficult. I wasn't a Manchester United player. I was a youth team player and reserve team player. I was fortunate enough to captain both youth team and reserve team. So going from that environment to a first team environment at Ross County, that was still a step up in my opinion. So Alex Smith had given me the opportunity to play first team football, which I was desperate to do. And that opportunity Manchester United couldn't. They could give me it, and as I've spoken about before, in the Carling Cup, which in my idea wasn't men's football. It was a game maybe once a season, twice a season, if you a couple of times if you managed to put a good run together. So that wasn't a gamble that I was prepared to take at that time in my career, and it was a step forward going obviously to Victoria Park in Dingwall. And after I came up, I can always remember coming up. I was actually at Aberdeen the week previous, and I was on my way down the road. Steve Patterson had told me I was too small, I wasn't going to play for him, which was fine. And then Alex had phoned me, and that opportunity for me just was massive, especially with the people that were there. And then when I spoke to Roy, that was me sold. As soon as I spoke to Roy and his plans for the club and what he wanted to do and the ambition he had for the place, it matched mine, and I was desperate to get involved.
Does it seem like 17 years ago that you signed at Ross County? Does it seem like all that time has passed?
No, not at all. I still think I'm 19, 20. You still look at older ones and think, oh, he's 33 now, and then you realise I'm 37. So it doesn't seem like any time's passed. I still speak to the boys, and when you pick up the phone, like Don, I speak to Don really, really frequently. Likes of Stephen McGarry as well, which is when you speak to them and we meet up, because McGarry he's in Perth at the moment, but when he comes back for his A licence, there was the three of us, Stuart Malcolm, Sean Higgins, we'd all met up. McGarry was actually doing his coaching course in Edinburgh, but we met up in Glasgow and went for a pizza together. And we still speak as if we share a dressing room every day. It was just that uniqueness of that group was great, and you'll never get that again. It was honestly second to none. So it was really enjoyable, great times, but it does not seem as if it was 17 years ago. It was one of those ones where, see now, looking back at it, see if we could have got promotion, that group would have had something to be remembered by, because we're, as I said before, people come and go in the game, but that group are still really, really close.
I think when you talk there about promotion and I think the fans would probably agree with me when I say this to you, John. Ross County is a club that is very, very history bestowed, and we always look back. And when we're speaking to guys like yourself on this, we really enjoy looking back. Somebody that I was very keen myself to ask you about was the man that took you to Dingwall, Alex Smith, a guy that I have great admiration and respect for. What was it like playing for Alex Smith?
I knew Alec, and I was a known Alec from Scotland under 16s, so I always had a relationship with him. So getting to 19 and leaving Manchester United, it was quite easy for Alex to pick up the phone and speak to me and ask me to come up, which was fine. But playing for Alex he was just a nice man, and that's the best way I can put it. Yeah, he got angry at times, and yeah, he got frustrated, and of course his teeth fell out. But that was just him. He was passionate, but ultimately he knew how to manage people, and that took a lot for Alec. Rather than having a go at a kid, he would rather have a go at an experienced player and pull the kid in the next day or so and say what was wrong with you and start and try to get it out of you that way. He kind of knew life was changing, society was changing, and it was evolving, and he was prepared to evolve with that. And although, again, I spoke about this the other day, but a lot of us were at such a young age that there's no coincidence that a lot of us went into coaching now, purely because of Alex's influence. But he was a great guy, great to have about, and to play for him, he wanted to play total football, and he always believed in it. No matter who we're playing, we'll play our way, which was great. And that probably, at the same time, having so many youngsters was probably one of the reasons why we never gained promotion, because we were one-dimensional and very, very naive, and that's probably why he recognised the problem straight away and brought in like experienced players like Jim Laughlin, Jim Hamilton, Gary McSwiggan, and tried to amend that.
During your time in Dingwall, you received a lot of League Player of the Year awards, and you were getting very well recognised. You got a Scotland B team cap when you were at Ross County. Was it the perfect platform to you to bounce back from, as you were talking about that Manchester United, you stepped away, you went to Aberdeen, Steve Patterson sent you away. When you look back on it now, was it the perfect platform for you to elevate you to the career you had?
Yes, yeah, it was. The platform I needed was to be able to was a guarantee of being involved or the responsibility being mine. And Alec gave me that. The first day I met him when I came to Dingwall, I went into his office, walked through the door, and it was the small office on the right-hand side. And he said to me, "John, you sign here, come August, the season starts, you will play in the very first game. After that, it's up to you." That's all I needed. And that's what I was looking for from anything. And it probably was great for me in the aspect of where Dingwall is situated. Now, a lot of people spoke about it at the time, saying, well, if you go to Dingwall, scouts don't go up there, they won't look, and you won't be able to get your career back on track. I thought the other way, where I'm out the big smoke, so to speak. I'm out the road. I can concentrate fully on my career and get my career back on track. And Ross County had the facilities, a forward-thinking chairman, a forward-thinking manager, and that was going to be, in my opinion, the best way to do it. And I maybe never got back to the level that I was at as a kid, but I certainly got to a level that I enjoyed playing it, and I loved being able to compete at.
John, moving on from Ross County, you obviously went on to Inverness, Hibs, Dundee United, Falkirk, Queen of the South. You're now at Clyde. You've amassed over 600 appearances in football, which in the modern game is unheard of nowadays. You very seldom hear of players reaching those figures. When you look back over all those years, you must be incredibly proud of what you've achieved in the game.
Yeah, I've not won anything. I haven't won anything, but the probably a greater achievement for myself in the way I conduct my own life is the fact that I've managed to master those 600 games. Not many would be from the substitutes bench, which frustrated the life out of me when I was playing. So to be able to keep myself in peak condition and not pick up too many injuries until latterly, I dislocated and fractured my ankle at the end of last season, and that kept me out for a period of time. This season I've had 2 operations, and I wanted to prove that I could come back from that at the age of 36, which I managed to do right at the end before the virus struck. But I take huge pride from it, but I don't think it's a coincidence the way that I have lived my life. As in, no, I don't drink and look after myself and spend a lot of time in the gym. But the only reason I've done that is because I don't have a big frame, I don't have a big physique, and I would struggle to compete in that aspect. So almost by being forced to get to the gym to be able to compete, then it's kind of helped me later on in my career.
Absolutely, and I'm sure a lot of kids nowadays will take encouragement from hearing that you've got to make the most of the natural assets that you have to create a career of 600 plus appearances. John, an organisation that's been a big part of your career in recent years is the PFA, and you were obviously chairman of the PFA. For our listeners that don't maybe fully know what the PFA's functions are, can you enlighten them? Can you let us know, what the PFA, how it's supported the likes of yourself?
Yeah, so PFA Scotland was introduced in my first few months at Inverness. So Fraser Wishart and Jackie McNamara Senior. I did the luxury actually playing with Jackie's son, Jackie, the Jackie that everyone will know probably now. But so Fraser and Jackie came up and they were setting up the new PFA Scotland. Jack Ross was I think the first chairman. And then when Jack left, it became myself. I think it was just sort of didn't need to change the initials in the chairman's chair. But so I took over from him. The PFA is it's a professional football association. It's run by the players. Fraser's the chief executive, and I was elected to be chairman. Now that is a big part of the Scottish football in general with regards to further education, mental health issues, financial support, agency, advice, things like that players you don't see. You're looking for advice from somewhere. We managed to put a structure in place, and not only that, we also had a management committee, which was structured from players across all four divisions in Scotland. So we had the likes of Liam Craig, James McPake, David Gray, Ian Flanagan from Mallow at the time, Sean Crichton was on it, and they were across all Kevin Cuthbert as well, the goalkeeper that was at Wraith Rovers. They were on it, and it was a real leadership-based group who managed to push boundaries a wee bit further for the players and managed to get extra things that we needed and have a say in. Like we fought for years to get the booking thing, which only really came through last year, where we felt we should be in line with England, where English players after February were allowed as many bookings basically as possible. It was only sending offs that they were suspended with, whereas in Scotland it was only 6 bookings and you were suspended and you missed 2 games. With the way the game was going, any foul was occurring a booking, and we wanted to get that changed. And credit to Fraser, he would fight for that because it was something that all the players believed in.
And it's an organisation that's growing and developing, and obviously you've stepped away from the chairman's role now, but it must have been a great honour for you to be at the forefront of that at a time where it was expanding, growing, and there were so many different initiatives being introduced for players across Scotland.
Yeah, it's probably a good time for me to step away after when the virus was up. I was never this busy, but no, it's great. It's, as you say, the players across Scotland really need it, and they really buy into it. And the things that the PFA can do for them, I've been looking at it recently. Obviously, I'm getting to the end of my career, but I've seen recently what they've been doing with education, languages, trying to help people, especially just now because they're stranded in their home. And the biggest thing for me at the moment is the dressing room environment. You miss that. You need people around about you, and players will struggle with that because every day you're going to work and you're seeing 16, 17 different faces, and there's something's always happening somewhere in the dressing room. And they've done their best to be able to piece together that bit that's taken out with Zoom calls and different things, just for people to broaden their network and basically get further their experiences.
I think every player in Scotland will be looking forward to seeing what more the PFA can do. We're going to switch back on to you now, John. You joined Hearts as an academy coach. How are you managing to balance, still playing football for Clyde and then starting out in your own coaching pathway?
Well, to be honest, it's actually quite easy for myself. It was last season. I was coming to the end of my contract at Queen of South, and I knew there was going to be an opportunity at Hearts coming up, and I wanted. They'd already spoken to me about taking the under-18s and assisting Andy Kirk with the reserves previously at the beginning of the season, and I'd said no. And at that time, actually my head was turned because I thought my career's nearly done here. I'm 34, 35, and it's time for me to be thinking about the next thing. And as soon as that they'd spoken to me and offered me that role, I knew what I wanted to do and where I wanted to be. And then that summer, I was fortunate when, as I said, I didn't want to lead Gary up the garden path, and I was considering different things, but I thought it's time for me to move on and make the next step. And if it is just stopping playing football and getting coaching, then that's great. And I was fortunate that Craig and the academy director at Hearts, Roger, had offered me the full-time role, which ultimately I was wanting anyway. So I accepted it, I took it, and then Danny had phoned me before I was going on holiday. It was like 3 days before I was going on holiday, I think, and asked me to sign for Clyde. Now, I'm from Cumberland. Well, I'm not from Cumberland. I'm from Airdrie originally, but we've set up base and stayed in Cumberland for the last 12 years. So it was quite an easy decision, and one that I had to run by Hearts, obviously, to make sure that they were okay with. So my training regime is a wee bit different from any other part-time player. I'll go to the gym at 6 o'clock in the morning through at Edinburgh and Rickerton. I go in there in the morning, and then sometimes I might join in with the players and maybe take a place of someone that's dropped out injured to try and help them. And then a Tuesday night where there's training, I'm working a Tuesday night because I've got a lot of the kids' stuff through the day and also continues tonight. So I very rarely train on a Tuesday night, so I need to kind of do my own thing again. Wednesday, I'm allowed to use Broadwood, so I use the gym then. And then Thursday night, I'll join in with the boys and train with the boys. Friday, again, I'll do my own thing, and then the Saturday I play. But I've also got the under-18 game on the Friday night, so that's the bit that's tough to manage. Sorry, to be able to get the right foods and stuff in you on a Friday, as well as manage the game, and then obviously take the game or play the game on the Saturday. But it's something that I just don't get any days off, which I'm quite happy. A day off's a day wasted, in my opinion, and it's quite good. I really enjoy it. It's gave me a new vision, basically, because I didn't know anything about part-time football, and that was the one thing I'd spoken to my boss about when I took the role, if it was okay if I could play part-time, because I didn't know how to run a part-time club or anything. Because if my first role in management is a part-time club, I'll need to know the ins and outs of it. And to be fair, Danny's been great. He's been absolutely brilliant, very open and honest in the way he conducts the part-time teams, and I can see why he's successful in doing so. So that's been hugely beneficial, as well as obviously Hearts put me through my pro licence just now as well and giving me the luxury of doing that. So it's been great.
And obviously you've got the biggest challenge of actually trying to keep Danny Lennon from naming himself in his own team.
I will competing for positions. We're also competing for the most grey hair, I think. But no, he's been. Listen, as I said, he's very fit. He's 50-year-old, and to be able to still play in a football pitch at 50-year-old, it's incredible. So keep him out of the team. That's another challenge.
I think when everyone in Scotland saw that photo online of Danny, was it last summer when he came on in the match, I think the whole of Scottish football just had a newfound respect for Danny Lennon. John, you're currently, as you say, a youth coach at Hearts. What are the biggest challenges you see as a coach right now? Obviously, culture is changing, young players are changing, so the environment will be very different from when you were 16, 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, the biggest change, or not the biggest change, but the biggest challenge for me is social media. In my opinion, players get falsely led. They see clips of other players doing things and think that's the norm when it's not. They get caught up. Their parents also get caught up, which is a huge issue. And that's something that me as a coach has to manage and make sure they know what they're doing. But on the pitch, there's nothing's really changed that much. The game's evolved, of course, but it's still the same. Players hungry, desperate to learn, sponges, asking questions, demanding about one another, falling out, fighting, scrapping and training. It's still the same passion. It's just, as I said, it's evolved slightly in the game from 20 years ago. It's just become quicker. And now I sit back sometimes and actually see them scrapping and pulling, and I actually enjoy that side of it, because they're pushing one another and making demands of one another that they don't actually know what's happening. But it's great for us to see, and the hunger that's in them. And the thing that frustrates me is it's a rush to get into the first team. it's a rush. Some aren't ready, but they believe they are, and it's just a case of taking your time. Make sure you've got all the tools, make sure you've got all the equipment, and when you do get there, you can open your toolbox and you've got 4 or 5 tools to be able to go and compete at the top level.
I think that's the one thing that I've certainly acknowledged in football, is that everyone seems to want everything yesterday now, rather than actually, they can be 16 or 15 with 2 years still to go at under 18, and yet they want to go into the under 20s or the reserve team. And it's trying to find that balance and then be able to communicate that effectively. One part that's going to be very big for you in that is obviously gaining your qualifications. You're on your pro license just now. How are you finding that? Because obviously it's a very extensive process in developing top level coaches.
Do you know something? It's something that, and I don't mean I underestimated, but it's not what I thought it was. I thought I was going to go on and it was all about coaching and different things. It's not that. It's not that at all. It's about learning different philosophies, leadership skills, business side of things, and it's been great. It's been a great learning curve for me. Critical thinking about things before you just jump in, analysing things. It's been the amount the speakers that's been on the course has been. It's been unbelievable. Dan, I've actually spent the last 4 days on Zoom from 9:30 till, I think it was like yesterday we finished was about 4:30, 5 o'clock. But you're learning things, and the quality of speaker the SFA provide is class. It really is. And it was Dan Ashworth the other day there, who was head of the FA in England, who's now Brighton technical director, and he's speaking and he's giving away little nuggets, and you're tapping into experience of people like that, and that's people that I want to learn off, and people the experiences I want to share. So when I am ready to step into, whether it be a first team coach, or an assistant manager, a manager's role, or academy director, whatever it may be, then I'm ready. But I come on to the course not knowing what I wanted to be. I'm still, I wouldn't say I'm not sure. I'm getting a clearer and a bit of clarity about it. But there's now things that I'm looking at and thinking, well, I could probably do that as well. So it's been hugely beneficial, and one I would advise any young coach or any young aspiring manager to make the jump and go on and try and get on the course.
John, you're coaching, you're still playing, you've got your family, it's all going on at the moment. As you say, it's 7 days a week, it's full on, you're attaining your qualifications. What does the next few years in the life of John Rankin look like right now?
Busy. The next few years, well, I've never been one to stand still. I'm not one to say that I'm going to do this forever, because it's not the way I am. I've got goals that I want to meet. I've got targets I want to reach, and I've got, how could I put it? I've got a desire to get to the top, whatever that may be in, and I've got a skill set now that could be tapped into by other jobs or other workforces, and if that need be, and it ticks my boat, or floats my boat, then why not? But just now, I would like to. I've been offered managers roles in Scottish football previously, and it wasn't the right time for me. Soon it may be. At some point, I'll need to make that decision, and if I get that opportunity again, hopefully, then it is the right time. But in the next 3 years, I see myself probably becoming in senior football, and in some sort of coaching capacity, whether that be a manager, assistant, or a first team coach, and hopefully being successful at that. I've got my own ideas. I've got fresh ideas, and listening to people, as I said earlier, on the pro license, I've only gave me an appetite now and wetted it to be able to think that I can do that. And the service that Malky Mackay's provided with the SFA and pushing young coaches like myself it's hard, but I'll tell you what, it's worth it, because now I see myself 18 months on from where I was last January. I've improved, and if I can improve that much in the next 3 years, then I'll be looking to step in. But listen, there's lots of young good coaches in Scotland, Scottish football. I've seen it firsthand. Ross County themselves they've got Don, and he's flying. He really is. I mean, I see him at reserve games. Richie, obviously, it's people that you've rubbed shoulders with. Fonts as well, taking the 18s, and it's great to see people that we played against now giving their experience back to kids, and I can see them with big futures in the game. And there's a lot of top coaches in Scotland.
John, it's been an absolute pleasure spending time speaking to you today, reliving the memories, looking at what's next. Hopefully we see you back in Dingwall in the not too distant future. Thank you for your time on behalf of myself and the fans for joining us today.